All right, I was asked a question. Somebody emailed in. I was in a cafe today and felt my attention mindlessly drifting over all the pretty cakes with flowers on top and lovely decor, and I realized even the pleasant things in life are all evil in a way, because they take us into the illusion, like watching a good movie, you lose yourself in it and forget for a moment about real life. Is it similar with all pleasant things in the world? Eye candy, emotion, sex, even nature, as pretty and fascinating as it is it all designed to keep us trapped? So, there's a very fine line. I don't know if you've read the article I wrote about the three sides of a coin. Okay, that a coin, the common expression, every coin has two sides, right? And everybody knows heads and tails and so on. But no, there's three sides to a coin. You're forgetting about the edge. And a razor, and then there's the other expression, the razor's edge. So walking on that edge really is the sort of an answer in this question, or the line we need to walk on to answer this, because if we say all the beautiful things in life are wonderful, yes, then they become a distraction, you get involved, and then you get attached. And as Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching, when there is beauty, that creates ugliness. When there is wealth, that creates poverty. So we can say all these beautiful things in life are wonderful, but they do create desires to have them, fear of losing them, attachment to keeping them. And in this way, they are evil or negative and work against us, because you can see how the more beauty there is, you could say, is trapping us and is bad. Now, if you take that view, it's possible you become very negative towards everything. And then you start to become negative and see everything as dirty and ugly, and you flip to the worst thing you can be, which is seeing everything in a negative sense. Then you become negative and bitter. But if you see everything beauty, 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 wonderful beauty, then you become so attached, it becomes your prison and creates desires. And as Buddha said, desires cause suffering. Someone wrote to me and said she loves flowers, beautiful flowers. And she was thinking of opening up a florist shop, getting into business as a florist, having a flower shop. She said, but it would make me so sad because the flowers die so soon. And I get so sad when the flowers die. So it's a typical example of how beauty creates suffering. She loves the beautiful flowers, but can't deal with the death, and then they wither away. So we can't blame the flower, but we have to deal with the reality of the way your mind works at the present moment. So this is the danger. So we cannot say beautiful things are beautiful or beautiful things are evil, because the thing itself, and this is where the answer, the razor's edge to walk on, the thing itself is just the thing. It is not beautiful, it is not ugly, it is not good, it is not bad. That's what Lao Tzu was trying to teach so many thousands of years ago. That when you see something as beautiful, you then create ugly, because hot can only exist if there is cold. Beauty can only exist if there is ugly. Everything that is defined in one way or another must, by the virtue of its being that, create and validate the existence of its total opposite. And I think it was in the last week's, or one of the previous weeks, depending when you watch this video, where I spoke about the idea of law of attraction and goals, of having your goal. You're not actually going to your goal, you're actually going away from something that you don't want. So it's not that I'm going here, it's that I'm going away from there. And that's what's really happening in a normal person's life, is that we are always running away from ugliness. So you remember, in those hundreds of years ago, whatever, Middle Ages or whenever it was, in France, they never washed. So they just put perfumes. So, oh, you smell so good. Well, in truth, I stink. I'm really disgusting and I'm dirty and I stink like an old toilet. But I put perfumes to cover it up. So, oh, I love perfume. So they go shopping for perfumes. You go to buy perfume so that you can cover up your stink. You see? And this is the fine line, is that you have to get to see something as it is without wanting something of beauty to cover up something that you do not like. So, in order to see beauty simply as it is, whatever it is, nature or cakes, whatever, without it being something that is going to be negative in a sense of creating desire and attachment to the thing of beauty, you have to stop seeing things as ugly. Stop from seeing things as dirty, as bad, as ugly, as not good, and so on. When you stop seeing things as bad, then you're no longer needing beauty to feel good as an opposition to the bad. You can see, animal poo as dirty, but, or bat droppings. That's a big one. Bat droppings, especially. Bat poo. Oh, disgusting. It stinks. My God, the ammonia smell is a horrible stink. If you've ever been in a cave where bats live, the stench of this bat poo. But if you're in the fertilizer business, you're so excited because you found a gold mine. Because bat poo is a wonderful fertilizer. Okay? You can use it for many things. Cow poo. Why do cows poo in the field? Because then it's a fertilizer. It helps more grass grow for them to eat. Cows, horses, whatever. So, you see, when you can see the good in everything, its usefulness, then ugly becomes beautiful. So, forget about looking at the beautiful things and considering them as trappings or causing you desires and so on. See, Buddha said, get rid of all desires. Okay, there's validity. I agree with that. But it doesn't work. You'll never get rid of your desires. It's impossible to get rid of your desires. All you can do is deny your desires. There is no way you will stop desiring food, shelter, sex, companionship. You can deny it and make yourself suffer and ignore your suffering because you're denying what you need. But you'll never eliminate the desire, because the desire to breathe and eat and certain things comes with being human and keeping your body alive. So the idea of eliminate desires is ludicrous, totally ludicrous. I think that what we're hearing now, the Buddhist idea and this has been somewhat distorted or is incomplete. That's why there's a little bit of confusion for this. So forget about eliminating desires. But what I am saying is eliminate repulsion. Eliminate seeing things as dirty, as bad, as evil. Obviously, those two Maori boys that put that baby in a tumble dryer and turned it on, that's as evil as you can get. And they had no sense of remorse. That made it even worse. I can't see good in that. It's true. Rape, I cannot see good in that. There's a lot of things that there's just no way to see it as neutral or good. Okay, so I'm not stupid, okay? I'm not crazy. But let's work with the things you can see or that actually are in some way good, but you only see them as bad because they're not suiting what you want. They alter your life. Those really evil things, we can see them as good as well. I just thought of it now. Because what if you have absolutely no motivation in your life? There's nothing that inspires you, and you're just literally bored to death and feeling so empty because nothing inspires you. Those sort of things, the abuse of women, things like this, these horrible acts, can inspire you just like Gandhi was inspired by the treatment of Indians by the British. And that anger inspired him for that injustice to get liberation for India from the British independence, So when you see these really blatantly, without question, evil things, there's no good in them whatsoever. The good in them is that you, who have absolutely no passion or emotion or goal in your life, might actually now find something to live for in order to combat these injustices that are going on. And you become a defender of justice in some way, you might find out. So the good in that evilness is that your life, untouched by that particular act, is altered and is given purpose and meaning. So you now have a reason to live, and your life comes alive. So you see, even in the most evil, there can be something good coming from it. I would rather you be miserable and bored to death than such atrocities have to happen, but such is life and human animals, okay? So my point is, you see how I can find something good in anything, even such evilness. And that is what I'm suggesting you have to do. So good is a trapping if you leave it as good and you see it as the opposite of bad. But when you start to forget about the good stuff, only look at the bad stuff and find something good in it. Because everything has something good in it. As I say, there's these horrible boys and the baby, the good in it is you, which is totally unrelated to that event in the past. Totally unrelated. But that event in the past has inspired you and given you something to live for, so you now have a life. You and maybe many other people. So the good in things could be unrelated to the thing itself, but is found when you alter your mind to know that as evil as something is, there is some good in it. Even Hitler, and how many tens of millions, I don't know if it even reached 100 million people were killed. How evil. But on the other hand, if those people hadn't died, do you know what the population of the planet would be right now? So in order for the species and the planet to continue, there needed to be a culling of sorts of humanity. Because we would be, maybe 20 billion people now instead of 7.5 billion? The planet cannot survive now. So even in massive destruction of humanity, there is good if we look at it not from the individual's point of view who suffered, but from God's point of view and the perpetuation of humanity and the planet Earth. So you don't have to be cold-hearted, but what we're trying to do is say there is always, if we're objective and not personally involved, that the universe is all about you as an individual, but open your mind to see from God's point of view and a billion-year lifespan of a planet or whatever it is, and a species that needs to evolve, and in order to evolve it needs to survive, and in order to survive it needs a planet to live on. So if we look at things from that point of view, you will always see something good in everything. Now, when your mind is such that you know there's always something good, no matter what the evilness is, or the bad, or the dirty, or whatever, the destruction, there's always some good. your mind no longer becomes so attached to the beauty and the good, but yet still enjoys and appreciates it tremendously, but without attachment, because there's no division of good and bad, because everything becomes good. And so this is the answer to the ending of duality in your life, and thus the ending of suffering, without imagining the impossible task of eliminating desires. And so here we can develop a peaceful life that is an acceptance of the reality of our humanity. Part of reality of humanity. And move forward without being trapped in imagination, illusions, self-pity, self-hatred, feeling terrible, like I'm a horrible person and everything is evil. I mean, if you see beauty as evil, then the whole world becomes evil. Because evil is evil. And beauty is evil. Now everything is evil. And it's true in a spiritual sense, because it traps us to humanity instead of evolving and becoming a purely spiritual being. If that's real, we can move forward. So yeah, it's evil. But that attitude you're not ready for. You're going to walk on the razor's edge. What's going to happen? Your feet will slip and you'll slide down and the thing will slice you through the middle as you fall on this razor's edge. So I cannot agree with this concept of seeing things as evil. You're not ready for it. So we have to see everything as good and eliminate evil in that way. Okay? And like I say, evil is evil so that the good in it is it makes you alive. And it unifies people who will join together. Now, rather than being alone and lonely and feeling separated, you can be part of a group who is in defense of women's rights, which I'm sure you know, according to Islam, women are just chattels. So we could defend women's rights in Islam. That would be a useful purpose and really necessary with the spread of it and the way it's really spreading and controlling and putting down women. It always disturbs me when I see these women all covered up and their husband is got, shorts and t-shirts and a fancy hat, and he's with his big fat belly and unshaven, and he's like a pig living, in great luxuries and, comfort in his sandals and t-shirt and shorts in Malaysia. And these women are only their eyes show, if anything. And they're covered from head to toe in these long black gowns. It's so hot. What an injustice. Totally against the teaching of Islam, by the way. Which is why it should be battled, because it is a hypocritical to a religious Muslim. He's a total hypocrite when he does this to a woman. He doesn't learn anything in the Quran when he does this. But, it's manipulation. So there's an injustice. Let humanity, instead of hating Muslims, let us join together and say this is an injustice to women. Westerners are doing this, right? Women, why shouldn't women get equal pay in the workplace? Women are not stupider than men. Women can do as good a job as men. In my businesses, actually, I prefer to hire women. I found them much better workers than men. They were more loyal, more devoted, more serious, more focused. Men are children. So, in the Western world, we fought for the equality of women in pay, in rights, the vote. Right? Women couldn't vote 100 years ago. Now, you have women prime ministers leading countries. What a change. Isn't that amazing? So, how many people had joined together and are now part of a community, a group, a family of sorts, defending this injustice? So you see, the good and the evil is that it brings other people together and gives them a sense of family, belonging, purpose, rather than just being totally bored, hopeless, and miserable and wasting your life. Okay, so this is it, you see. Find the good in everything, and when you do that, then the good becomes better, and the bad becomes good, and everything is wonderful, and you don't deny your natural instincts. You don't become an animal and feed them like crazy and be a glutton and go to be 600 kilos. But with wisdom, you'll have a balance. When you stop having, you see, because what if you say, oh, look, it's a smorgasbord, a buffet, all you can eat. I don't know if tomorrow I'm going to eat, so now I have to eat everything I can. You see? So if I fear loss, I go overboard when I have an opportunity. But if I do not fear loss, if I do not fear things as there will be an evil coming, I don't have to go in excesses with the good. It's total balance, complete balance. So there's your answer, all right? The illusion is that things are evil. It's not the illusion that things are good or these are. The illusion is that things are evil. So let us, in our goal for happiness, instead of trying to surround ourselves with beauty, let us merely run away from seeing things as bad and evil and always be looking for where is there a good in this thing. And in that way, you'll have a one-sided coin, which is always good. Okay? See how that goes in your life. This is one of those things that it's not take half an hour a day to sit and meditate. No, this is something that you do with every breath, every moment of your life. And it doesn't take 1 second out of your life. In fact, it gives you more time because you're not saying, oh, this is evil, I'm going to sit home, watch TV and waste time. Oh, my job is too miserable, I'm going to play Pokemon and waste the evening and relax and chill out. You see? So these are the type of exercises that I like because it's a way of living which doesn't take time, but it gives you more time. It increases the quality of life without detracting in any way. And it is done with every moment of your life, without effort, without seeking or going to the gym. It's everywhere. And that's a good exercise. Okay, bye-bye.